Hail, hail. The Celts are here. Are we live straight away? No intro track? No. There we go. It just feels a bit better, doesn't it? After that's played and we can get stuck into it. Hail, hail, everyone. Good to see you live and loud. If you're with us, if you're watching this after we've been live, you might have enjoyed that little blooper. So fist bumps to yourself for catching us on this one. Coming to you live on a Saturday morning, late morning, early afternoon. Good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you're at right now. And we're right in the midst of the Thursday, Sunday turnaround. We only yesterday dropped our Feyenoord breakdown out on the channel. A lot of you have tuned into that already and seem to really enjoy it. Thanks to everyone that did catch that and supported the content already. If you did miss it, highly recommend you check it out. I had a lot of fun breaking down the goals, talking about the style of play that the team brought in, the plan of attack, the tactics and all that good stuff. And over the Martin O'Neill Shaun Maloney interim regime, we've seen, you know, a bit of versatility, a bit of tactical flexibility for how the team has been lined up for all the matches, really. I think the only match, of course, that we've not came out of it with the result we wanted, the one at Midfield, where we did definitely try something different in that one. Certainly it didn't work out for us. But yeah, coming into this weekend, can we maybe see a bit of foreshadowing from Martin O'Neill's press conference with some of the players they name dropped that haven't had a look in yet, but very much could be very worthwhile players under the next manager, whoever that might be, as well as some of the heroes in the squad management that we've seen over the last couple of matches. What is the writing on the wall for the game we've got tomorrow? And because the game is tomorrow, I thought let's just go live rather than doing a wee recording and then getting edited and put out and all the rest of it. It gives a good chance for you guys in the comment section to get involved. Audience participation, as always, is welcome. So good to see you all that are tuning in. And let me know your thoughts and feelings off the back of Thursday night. Did you catch the breakdown or not? And how are you feeling coming into Martin O'Neill's The Last Dance, his last game in charge, away to Hibs? One thing I did want to kind of half start the stream on, just to kind of kick the door open and give a bit of time for anyone who is live to find us and to join us, was, I'm a Twitter guy. I am like just never on Facebook. I try to get on Instagram a little bit just to do some posts and whatever. Same kind of goes for TikTok and all the rest of it. But I'm like a YouTube, Twitter user when it comes to like social media. But I get sent a clip, and I'm actually quite surprised to see that. I think this is only on the Celtic Facebook. So maybe I need to kind of keep a wee. It might be on Instagram and I've missed it. But when I got sent the link, it came through as a YouTube one right now. This is like Yang doing the Kyoko or whatever at the end of the game. But the thing I wanted to share with you in this video, right, is there was some headlines made earlier in the week on Monday Night Football after the Everton players like started fighting with each other and they got sent off, and that kind of thing has been kind of in the ether of football for the last week or two, right? But see if you watch this clip, you can see Ben Negren here, you can see his shorts, number 8, here's his face, and he's in conversation with Tuneki here, right? And if you just watch this whole clip, just watching them two, this is what I love from players. We gave a lot of credit to the Yang goal, to maybe just a bit of the, I don't want to quite say telepathy, but certainly the familiarity. Rio and Yang have played together for 2 or 3 seasons at this point, and we're kind of chatting about a wee bit of the muscle memory or the familiarity with teammates maybe playing a part in the first goal that we got here. And like, yeah, this is the sort of stuff I love to see from the Celtic team. They're in the back of the thing now, but they'll come to you'll be able to see them better in a second. In there. Yeah. Maybe make them back in the shot one more time. Maybe not. Maybe not. Big Gasper. Gasper's been great, by the way. Yes, love that from the big man. Yeah, there's maybe a little bit less of the footage than I remembered from when I seen it yesterday or whenever it got sent to me. But when I seen that when they grind into Neki, I was like, oh yeah, I love seeing a bit of that, But good to see you all. Paul Keenan, Thomas Burns, Donny Tiny Hands, Jack Frost. There's a bunch of Brendan McCarthy, a bunch of heroes and legends in the live chat already. So like, listen, we'll get to the board. We'll get to transfer chat at another time. The main topic of discussion for today, and it's one thing I try and keep quite almost, I don't know if I'd say it is like a content type or whatever here on the channel, but I do like try and keep in like the videos to whatever the main agenda is. Obviously, as I say, audience participation is involved, but I don't think we've got any kind of board transfer related chat coming out of Feyenoord and into Hibs. It's, very much a case of taking the last, what we've seen from Martin O'Neill in the sense of, getting, has he really got Schmeichel kind of back going or whatever? I think Schmeichel's been good, but certainly Yang is coming out of the last game a bit of a hero, and Hatate over the last two out of the last 3 matches is probably the best way of putting it, has been great. But as we look at the squad coming into this game, I actually think Engels and McGregor has quietly became the best midfield partnership base to work from here. Now, there might be some tactical tweaks when the new manager comes in, but the interesting thing about Shaun Maloney and Martin O'Neill's interim period is that they've had to really try and problem solve this right-hand side, which Brendan Rodgers made like no effort to problem solve with at all. The answer was Forrest or Yang or Negren, that, or Dyson, that was just the answer rather than trying to make some sort of tweaks. And we've very clearly seen a bit of a tweak over the team through most of the matches to try and work out what to do with this right-hand side of the pitch. And it feels like with Dyson not being selected on that side of the pitch at any stage in the game, Johnny Quinny was on the bench, if memory serves me right. We all know Iheanacho was on the bench. So it feels like, because again, like Kenny's been fine in the centre forward role. He's got a couple of goals, and we can all see the promise that he has. If you've seen the striker video, the real problem holding Celtic back, if you've missed that video, I highly recommend you check it out. A lot of you've watched it and enjoyed it based on the comments. Is that Johnny Quinny, he's got a place in the squad, striker 2, striker 3, like all day, every day, but it's that 1A, 1B category is where we can, as Celtic fans, we want the team to be just aiming higher. Now, can Kenny eventually get to that level? Who knows? And the promise he's showing, I'm definitely not going to be one to pour water on that. So we'll watch that as it goes. But you can definitely see with the game. What was it? The game that Kenny came off at halftime for McKibben, that Dyson just in the centre forward role feels like he looks a lot more comfortable. He puts a lot more fear into defences, and it kind of does offer the same threat that Johnny Quinny does, space in behind, good positional awareness in the final 18. But Iheanacho's now coming back into the fold as well. So maybe that offers another lever to maybe get Dyson back into the right-hand side here. If Iheanacho, or when Iheanacho is ready to start, I don't think that'll be this weekend. But yeah, I found some of the developments in the squad really interesting. I think Trussie's done well in the Martin O'Neill era, or, interim period. And really, I'm not really too sure many others have really stood out overall. For 25. So if we get to 25k before Christmas, I dye my hair blue. I could probably go along with that. Probably not. I don't know. Yangy, Mystic, AF. Yang is better than Taneke. Now, again, this is a conversation I think we started on the channel. Again, this is just with the kind of field of view I'm always trying to put myself into to try and bring out videos that you guys will enjoy. I'm always trying to kind of think ahead a little bit and trying to just see, walk things down the road a little bit after a couple of games. How does this look, etc. And, Taneke, like, kind of came onto the scene and really shook the team up, because without Jota, we don't, and Yang has the potential. We can kind of chat about that in tandem, but we didn't really have like a playmaker, an X factor effort into the team of someone that can clearly just be given the ball and can create things and make things happen. Because under the Brendan Rodgers system, there is a lot more onus on those creative players to be the difference. It's about setting the team up, setting up the principles, and getting the attackers into the final 18, and then it's up to you guys from there. That's the kind of the Brendan Rodgers, the OG Pep Guardiola way. I don't think Pep quite works like that anymore, but that's certainly the kind of the ethos, the philosophy of where we were working at before. And Taneke came in with some real purpose, some real pace, and some real, a point to prove with no baggage as well, which is always refreshing. New toy syndrome's always well found at Celtic Park, isn't it? But as the appearances in the games have went on, like his goal contributions and whatever, they're not wildly different to Yang's, really over the grand scheme of things. And, we've already drawn comparisons before with the winger bucket that we've been shopping in. Again, we did a winger video really analysing all the ins and outs of the winger options we've had at Celtic over the last 5 seasons. And it's really interesting how much money we've made out of really just finding Kuhn and Jota It's really just made us a bag of money. We've brought in a bag of wingers, and none of them have been, except for Jota and Kun, have been. And do we count Dyson as a winger? I don't know, but none of them have really stepped their head up. But one thing that and you guys have been here on the channel. I know we've had some great growth recently. There's a lot of new people on the channel, but you guys will know. Again, we're quite consistent in our views and in our points. But like when you're looking at players and really what they're contributing, you really do need to try and think about like what are they missing? Like why are they not a good player? Why do we not feel that they're contributing better? Why are they not? What's missing? And with Palma, the analysis we had, again, we were the first channel to talk about this regarding Palma when everyone else was still, Palma's the answer, number 7 and all that kind of stuff, is, like you can see things in a match. Like this guy just never beats anyone. All of his goals are like set pieces or worldies from like 30 yards. And with Yang, he's always been able to take people on. Tuneke is able to take people on. I think the difference with Tuneke is, I think for the majority of the season so far, a lot of our players are kind of left out by themselves. Tuneke, Yang, all these guys, they don't really have, unless Sarachi's playing, a real bombastic left back that's going to give them that second man, that overload to help them combat playing against 3 players in a tight area, for example. And I think we used Yang very cleverly, where Yang is getting running onto the ball with pace, and Yang on the front foot, on his tippy toes against one guy. We've seen him, honestly, every game Yang has played, he can blast past the first man. He can take a guy out. The first man is not Yang's problem. It's maybe the second man. It's maybe the shot. It's maybe the pass. But it's always that ability to, he's a big, strong guy as well, whereas with Tuneke, like Tuneke, if he buys the yard of space, you probably back his crossing and shooting. It looks quite good, and he has had some success with it, of course, to, be able to create some openings and all the rest of it. And he can beat the first man, but he's just got so little chance of beating 3 guys, and it feels like he's quite often around them. So I'm not going to be writing off Tuneke or kind of downplaying him in any way. I think you really need to look at how the players have been used to this point. And I think what we can see with Tuneke when he came on against Feyenoord, and I forget what other match, but there's another match quite similar where off the ball, when we're having this kind of 2 banks of 4 shape, Tuneke's really good at, being in here with Tierney, being in our defensive zone, winning the ball back, maybe buying a free kick, playing the ball into McGregor or something. Maybe we set someone else off on a counter attack down their side of the pitch. So Tuneke's got lots of great qualities, great hunger. You can kind of see that in the little Negren clip I just showed you a second ago. But it's nice to see the competition out here. And Yang has been written off, right? But one of the things as Celtic fans we do criticise the club, and I guess we're getting into some board chat here for, is forward planning, squad management, etc. And we can all see what's happened with O. And I mentioned that with Paul John, I think, last Monday or the Monday before. And if you look at the striker roulette situation or the musical chairs, like any other club around Europe, like, once you've had a guy in the building for that length of time, and the time comes where everyone else has been sold, most clubs give that guy a bit. Now, O did get minutes. We looked at that in the striker video, and O's minutes to goals. When we sold him, it was like by the metrics, and on, it was a smart thing to do, especially if you can get a good sell-on clause and somebody else can, jack his price up for you, fine. But with Yang, and again, Yang, we're probably at that point, which is why he was close to leaving in the summer. But since he's still here, like, we've still invested a lot of time into him, And yeah, like, I think Mikey Johnson comes into this as well. I think that, again, we said it on the channel at the time, but Mikey Johnson's number one problem for me was he was a Celtic fan. I think some people like Tierney, Scales, McGregor, McCowan, you can clearly see that they thrive on it. Kenny's kind of got there, but we've seen so many players over the years that it's just too much. They just can't handle it. And you see this not just at Celtic, but other football teams where, the club of your dreams, your boyhood club, it just doesn't work out, like even like we had Shane Duffy up the road, for example, big Ireland international Celtic fan by all accounts. And, some people just can't, even if they are a Celtic fan, maybe sometimes that works to their detriment. But Mikey Johnson goes to the Championship, is a very worthwhile winger at that level, was even bloody close to going to Brazil, which is just crazy. But Tuneke, Yang, Mikey Johnson, Tilio, to a lesser extent, maybe he had a good minute or 2 in Austria before he's disappeared again. But they're all in that batch of prospects, of what was the other word Celtic fans often use? Projects, So yeah, like, and the thing about Yang, we're kind of going off on a bit of a tangent here about Yang specifically, but Martin O'Neill coming in and just that clean slate, because you can tell with Ange, like Ange brought him in and Ange is trying to work on him. And, you know, he has him and opportunity in minutes and it didn't really come for them. They then feel the pressure of that. Brendan Rodgers then comes in and you can feel that Brendan's maybe trying to give Yang a bit of a chance. Obviously, with his, remember his whole girlfriend being in town kind of situation or whatever. And then ultimately, like Brendan's calling everyone Honda Civics. And really, if you look at this whole squad, like one of the prime culprits to feel bad about those types of comments is somebody like Yang, who has to. Yang's appearances shocks a lot of Celtic fans. It's over the 100 mark, I'm sure, at this point. And Martin O'Neill coming in, I feel no baggage and really just like, wow, son, like, you know, you've got some ability, you've got some talent. Let's just get you a chance to show me what you can do, son. You know, in that Martin O'Neill accent. And yeah, well, do you know, it's funny. One of the big videos we had this summer on the channel was I applied for the Celtic job, right? And that guy Lefebvre, I think his position was the guy that would be reviewing all the applications. So I'm quite happy to sledge him. You know what I mean? If he's the reason we never got a bit of a look in or whatever, that's just kind of funny, isn't it? But, and you know, like this same batch of stuff we're talking about, it did find us Kuhn, it did find us Jota. You know, and there's been other targets that it's found us that we didn't get because we biscuit tinned it. Raul Moro now at Ajax, Jacob Briem, of course, this summer, and there's another one or two of Isaac Janssen went to France, Orjasetter went to Holland. You know, so I'm not totally up for binning this winger strategy that we've had, but it definitely needs refined. I think we can kind of agree on that, and that's no shade on Tuneke, Yang, and even Balikwisha we'll bring into the conversation now, because Balikwisha was a guy I had high hopes for alongside Negren. I think Negren is kind of matching my expectations, which is fantastic. But Balikwisha I definitely held in the same steam. And it was great to hear that Martin O'Neill name-checked him actually in the pre-match press conference coming into this, because I would love to see him add to our... Imagine our team had another guy that was capable of 30 goal contributions, because we don't have that guy right now. Dyson's obviously got the track record, but isn't really on pace for it. Negren's on pace to do that sort of thing, but nobody else is in the squad. We need somebody else that is capable of adding significant goal contributions in the final third. And we can kind of get into the team and the tactics and the formation and the setup a little bit in a second. But I think this left-hand side is probably one of the most interesting developments. And it's kind of in tandem with trying to compensate for this right-hand side, because Luke McKeown comes on at right wing when we take Johnny Kenny off the other week, starts the Feyenoord game. And again, check the Feyenoord breakdown. I'm not going to go into the whole rigmarole, but the role that McKeown plays would be very favourable to Negren on this side of the pitch. And this is actually when Negren comes into the game before he gets his goal. Other than his goal, we did absolutely nothing, just the stage of the game, time of the game, and just where the ball ended up being just didn't involve Negren. So no shade on him. But this could be, you know, if there's a development in shape for Hibs, you know, with Nancy, I think everything gets reset to 0, which for me, doing forecast and analysis and that sort of stuff is going to be, it's going to be quite frustrating, or not frustrating, but difficult, I suppose. Yeah, so we're going to be going back there. But Negren definitely has I don't know how Negren doesn't start this Hibs game, to be quite honest with you. It's kind of what I'm getting to. But this right wing scenario is a tricky one, because, again, the form Hatate showed 2 out of the last 3 games. Can you drop him? I don't think you can, you know. And like I mentioned, or Martin O'Neill's mentioned, Bernardo came on to attack in midfield for the last couple of minutes against Feyenoord. Maybe he could come back into the reckoning. I highly doubt it for the start. I think it will be Engels and McGregor, the trusted. But let's go back a wee second. So let me take a wee pause as well. And yeah, kickoff tomorrow is, I think it's kind of early, isn't it? Yeah, midday Celtic Park time. Yeah, like they've just showed up. I think it's so early to talk on Tuneke. And again, you can go and check the streams and whatever, but I was quite positive on, like, I thought Kuhn did really well in his first 6 months in the January. Like, he didn't do great, but he showed more than the likes of Yang has in the past, and he showed us stuff that Palma wasn't capable of doing. I always remember his goal against Aberdeen thinking, if he can do, like, this is Kuhn, I think it was his first goal for us, and it may have been from the start, I can't remember, but remember he scored that goal, maybe even been a wee bit of a deflection in it. I remember thinking, yeah, man, if this guy can just do this like every 3 games, he can take people on, he can be dangerous. And, you know, time kind of panned out well, in particular for Nicholas Kuhn. But yeah, I think like all the players have the potential to really change, and Martin O'Neill kind of alluded to as much in his pre-match press conference. But the defence is where we'll kind of go back to, and we'll start. Tierney comes off for the second game in a row, so I think Tierney's on to start, and his minute management is kind of kicked back in again, which is fine. Scales is nailed, Trusty's nailed. I don't think we're going to see Simpson Pussy. Murray feels like he is like one of the first subs defensively to maybe change and move Scales to left back, or maybe change to three at the back if we're throwing the kitchen sink at it, which we did for a small time against St Mirren, I think it was. But the right back is an interesting one because Donovan was selected again by Martin O'Neill, similarly to what happened under Rodgers, over Ralston on suitability for the team, ability to face his opponent and to offer us something when we are, overloading the right-hand side, because the right-hand side is a problem and the ball will just end up there. It happens in football. You can try and focus down one side of the pitch, but at some point in time, it might open up. The opposition might find themselves there, whatever. You need to have the ability to do something on the right. And Donovan seems to give us a lot more in the opposition's, let's say, final third in terms of wide play and wing play. And for the Negren goal, Donovan plays a big part in it, as well as we've seen. But Martin O'Neill spoke about he took a nasty stamp on the foot towards the end of the game. He thought it might have been cramp. Ralston comes on to finish the match. And, I'm undecided. It really depends on the state of Donovan. I think if Donovan's fine, he plays, is kind of when I sit. I seen when I was looking for that Yang video, I kind of went onto Twitter to look for it again as well. And I think one of the things that was on Twitter, I may have been on Facebook again, was, them all showing up to training. I guess it was yesterday. Take that music off in case it's copyrighted. Them all just swaggering in after beating Feyenoord, but we see Youngster. But we see Donovan. There he's here. Has he got a limp? Has he got a limp? I don't know. Hard to say. And look at Scales, man. He's just off a building site, isn't he? Or he's always fishing or something. Scales. The tattoo too cool for school as ever. Yeah, I kind of agree with this. Can see Motherwell getting something today. I think there's going to be a lot of goals in the game today. Hearts, Aberdeen. I can actually just put a wee preview of their teams on if you want for a moment in terms of predicted 11s and stuff. But they're both coming in this in full strength, Hearts have got their best defence back now. They were missing somebody else. I think it might have been Shankland. Yeah, so he's kind of back in the mix. So Motherwell have been good at home, but quite open. I think this will be a very good game to watch, maybe for the neutral or for the Celtic fan that might be tuning in. Because Motherwell give as good as they get. This Longello guy is a threat. Good team. Maswanise doing very well. And yeah, Hearts will be going for it. Probably be a very good game to watch. When does it kick off? I don't see that on the screen, sorry. But yeah, I think Donovan has to play, and the defence kind of picks itself for the most part, as does McGregor and Engels' engine room in it. But again, because Martin O'Neill's kind of foreshadowed Bernardo, I think he's foreshadowed a bit of Balikwisha. Wouldn't rule out something crazy happening. Now, McKeown, I don't know what more McKeown can do to start. McKeown, but the biggest surprise with Thursday night is McKeown just doesn't play in Europe. If you look at his Celtic career to this point, his European, have we got flash scores open? It's a dead easy way of looking at his European contribution so far for Celtic. You won't get to see minutes here, I don't think. But that was his first start ever in Europe. I think we can all agree on that without me being fact-checked, but I think I might need fact-checked, but just to be safe. International Cups. So Champions League, he came off the bench 3 times. Champions League, he came off the bench once last year. And this season, he made 1 appearance in the Europa League. So very, very fleeting appearances for young Luke McKeown. And he did great. He has done great. We know how effective he can be domestically. He was very good in that wee guy midfield. Maybe that's something that could happen in this game, where it's McGregor, McKeown, Hatate. Welsh has been doing great. Welsh has been doing very, very well. I'll show you. Welsh has been doing very well. Welsh is maybe one of the best centre-backs in the division right now, maybe top 5, top 10 on statistics. Yeah, let's get my wee scouting page open. How is Welsh doing? Did we sell him? I think we did, didn't we? He's not listed as on loan. The Rocky's one of the best defenders in Europe right now on his L4, last 4 games played. So let's look at defender and let's go to the Scottish League. Boom. Show. He's maybe not quite as high as I thought he would have been. That's L15. Let's do it on L5. Or maybe we want to do it. Yeah, L5, he's right up there. So in the last 5 games, James Tavernier's the best rated defender in Scotland right now with his penalties and stuff like that. Paul McGinn is in second, which is incredible for him. A few last man tackles and goal line clearances. Scales is in third, Trusty fourth. But Welshie at Motherwell has been doing numbers, man. He's good on the ball for them. He wins a lot of duels, makes a lot of clearances and blocks and stuff. And he's been really good. And then, yeah, you can see some other players from the division kind of creep in here. But yeah, Welsh has been doing good. Welsh has been doing good. And again, I think everyone would have. I don't think that should surprise anyone that Welsh is like a really good SPFL defender. Again, similar to Ralston and many other players that are in our squad, that's kind of the baseline for if you're going to be in our squad. Like you should go to an our team and be really good. You know, Luke McKeown was Dundee captain, one man midfield. I know the rest of the midfield ended up being quite good. Mulligan and the boy that went to Rangers and whatever, but you get the point. Welsh is out on loan. Yeah, I just never hear people talking about him being on loan. He did get an injury at one point, but he came back from it. Yeah, I don't think it was a big one. He missed us because of the loan thing, obviously, but there was a game where he didn't finish it. I think he came off injured. I remember, yeah, 78 minutes against Falkirk. It might have been that. But it was a game he came off, 64 minutes against Dundee United, 2-0 win. It feels like it could have been that game. But he came right back. He wasn't actually out. Yeah. He got a wee kind of injury scare. Yeah, man, Falkirk have got some football nous about them at the moment. I really think this is one of the huge headaches for this game at the weekend, because I've got the Hibs team set up. We can look at Hibs in a second, right? But Hibs are going to fight us. You know, they're going to try and go man for man for us. They're going to try and play into space. It doesn't look like Martin Boyle's in the reckoning, which is a big thing for us. There's a lot of shouts for Hibs fans for Ellie Yuan to come back into the team. Hibs at the moment also feel that the Caddens should be dropped. O'Hora's going to step in for Hanley. Mulligan's moving over to right wing back. And Newell's fit, so he could be coming in. Fans also prepping for a busy month ahead, so they want to get players brought into. Yeah, so they've got a lot of action this month. Falkirk battered Dundee United 3-0 away. Yeah, I say Falkirk have been doing good. The division's very, very tight this year. But yeah, I'm very undecided about how I see this all panning out. I think it's probably going to be Dyson through the middle, Kenny and Iheanacho on the bench. And I say this left-hand side, like I don't think I can see Balikwisha starting, but I think we could see much more of a contribution for him, perhaps. And between Yang and Tuneke, so it depends on how they're managing the squad, because sometimes you'll see like Engels played 90, right? So maybe he doesn't start at the weekend and somebody else like Bernardo could start. You know, sometimes Shaun Maloney, Martin O'Neill, these types of figures might be rotating that way, or it might be like Yang started the game, Tuneke finished it. So the next game, Tuneke starts it, Yang finishes it. You know, so whether you're sharing the 2 games between the 90 minutes cleanly or half and half, it's hard to work out. But I think ultimately Martin O'Neill is going to want to try and compound the win from Yang and back him, start him again, and have a similar kind of output to him and a higher octane match. Now, Feyenoord is way more of a higher caliber test than Hibs away, but it's a different test. You know, Europe away from home, they're expecting to do something. They're under the cosh as well. You know, it's a bit more cat and mouse. Hibs will probably play a bit of cat and mouse with us as well in that regard, but you know, we will dominate the ball a lot more. Yang will have different problems to solve, and he'll need to bring different things to the party. Yeah, I think so too. And I think, like, I kind of touched on it, maybe semi by accident when you're looking at the opening goal. But see the ball that McKeown plays for Hitate when he scoops it in for Yang? That is a Matt O'Reilly ball. And what's Matt O'Reilly about it is it's left foot on this right channel. And throughout Brendan Rodgers' entire time, if he was going to play Hitate and Engels would always be out here. And with a right footer, you just don't have those same passing lanes open. You don't have the same, you just don't have the same artillery available. and it definitely nerfed him. Again, on the channel, we've been very consistent in saying like Engels on this side of the pitch is a different player, totally different. And now this change of tactics and style and approach, Engels looks, and again, some of you guys that know me from beyond this channel will know I'm a big Leon Goretzka fan. And it was one of the things I quite enjoyed about going to Celtic v Bayern Munich was seeing big LG in the flesh. And Goretzka is a fucking tank, man, like a monster of a player. And Engels went shoulder to shoulder with him that game. And I quite enjoyed just watching that as a one-on-one duel. But the way Celtic are setting up now, like this is Kimmich and Goretzka midfield. Like that's the build. That's the play that we have here, the style. And I can dig it. Engels is like a very good. So the thing with Goretzka, which I really do like that Engels doesn't have enough of, is Goretzka scores, if he plays all the time, he can score 8 goals, like just from these types of areas, just when the ball's been dominated by Bayern and they're really pushing people into the box. He'll score goals. He'll smash them from the edge of the box. He'll get a header on something. Deflection will come to the edge of the box. He'll put laces on it. Engels, he's desperate to score, hasn't he? He's definitely got the minerals to do it, but he's not really been doing it. But I quite agree that he has looked a different player in this deeper position, facing the play and playing the ball into people rather than being up here and having to have, you know, because when you're up here doing this kind of thing, forget the left foot, right thing for a minute. But you're now playing like this. You know, you're getting the ball from here, and then who's up here? You know, what's going on? Whereas when he's back here, it's all in front of you, you know, so you can kind of, and again, the wider your periphery vision goes, you know, you can see if, you know, Yang's making that run, oh, do you know what? Let me play it into you because you're going to have somebody else to play, you know. So I think you get a lot more out of Engels' range and his creativity. I think, you know, by all accounts, like I've kind of, again, you'll kind of get an even football opinion from me. I think Rangers have done, like, see over the years, like, see on, like, paper, they've made some good appointments and some good signings over the years, but they've just got some crazy knack of fucking it up or making a mess of it. It's untrue, man. It is. It's why it's the banter years. It is hilarious, you know, how they can go through it the way they did. Like even big Philip, come on, like he won a league with Bruges, was a Monaco, you know, like you can't really. Anyway, tangents for other days. But Danny Roll, I think you can only do well in this modern era. If you're IDing players on athletic ability, which Rangers certainly do, like Rangers have got a big onus over the years, and I think it's mainly because of Calvin Bassey. But if you look at him and other guys, even like Sima and Aribo, Raskin maybe doesn't quite fit that mold, but maybe it does a wee bit, but Diamande, Suter, you know, like Rangers have got a big focus on physical athletic attributes. And if you've got lots of that with a good coach, so many teams can be way better than what they should be. So I don't think there's any doubt that the boy Roll's a good coach. It's how good are those athletes, but are enough of them dummies? Some of the players are damaged goods. Anyway, it's a conversation for another day. So I think he'll compound in Yang. I don't think the win that he's had from Feyenoord, Martin O'Neill wants that to dissipate. I think you'll want to really try and build a winner out of that. I don't think you take McCowan out of the team here. So I think between Negren and Hatate, I am... Oh, sugar, we're still on the vision thingy. I am really stuck. I've got no idea. I think this is... Again, McCowan didn't finish the game, so I can see him starting it one more time. I think Hatate could do really well in this type of role, but he's done so well for Martin O'Neill and Shaun Maloney being that second striker. And the problem we had, I think the first game, I was kind of talking about this in the breakdown, where it was Engels, McGregor and Hatate, and they did try and do this. Was it St Mirren? It was St Mirren. They just went into muscle memory a bit more and ended up getting so far apart across the pitch, and it didn't work. It wasn't a functioning midfield anymore. And, you know, it went bad. Because Hatate can come deep, will come deep, is good at coming deep, wins the ball back, can get the ball in tight spaces and progress. But really, like, if you're going to get the most out of Hatate, you need to leave him up here. You need to leave him detached from defensive responsibilities. And yeah, he's still going to do it. He's still going to come deep once in a while, fine. But you really need to tell him and wisen up on that. And you're going to be our man to play the wide players with, to play the pace, to have something like McCowan to team up with. Again, Hatate and McCowan, very good link up. They've shown up over the years. But Negren's our top goal contributor right now. You know, after not starting the Feyenoord game and coming on and just sealing the deal, how does he not start? You know, I think by merit and logic, I guess you would maybe give Negren this right-hand side job that McCowan's had. You could maybe see that happening. Don't think we get the Brendan Rodgers 3 back of McGregor, Hatate, and Negren. I don't think that's something we'll get for the weekend here. But yeah, I'm very, very undecided. I find it really hard to take McCowan out of the picture. I really, really do. And again, this side here needs to have pace on it if we're doing McCowan or Negren here. So I think Yang's probably going to start. I can't really see. It could be Taneke by all rights, of course. But yeah, I think this is probably just about how we're probably just about going to line up the same way, I think. But see, Negren's a really tough one for me. Yeah. And again, maybe we realise we're not going to get that. Again, with Hibs, because they're at home, so they will run through us. Hitate's engine, you do want that. It's hard to take that out of the equation, I think. Negren's got a good engine, but he doesn't have that same fleet of foot. It doesn't quite cover the ground as quickly. Maybe his intensity, Craig, I can agree with you here, but honestly, Negren, I call him marathon man. He doesn't stop moving. Like he's got an engine. Like he will cover all the ground, but he doesn't. I say, he just doesn't quite travel. He doesn't quite glide across the grass. He doesn't. In the final third, like 5-10 yards, super nippy, very effective. But if he's in this attack midfield spot and the ball goes in and we need to run all the way, yeah, he's not going to be catching up with the defense. He's not going to be doing what Hatate does. I'm totally with you there. Not fast in that regard whatsoever, but he definitely has the desire and the engine, but yeah, he's not quite get that cut across the grass, does he? Yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page. Hibs will sit deep. Do you think so? All right, let's just take Negren out of the picture for now. So we've got an 11 here, and let's look at the Hibs team. So Hibs we expect to line up as so. We're all green. Can I change the colours on this? Hibs, yeah, we can. So let's maybe change their outside circle to like green, and then let's change the inside of the circle to white. Did that work? I don't think it did. I think I just changed it's inner color. Yeah, white. Oh, there we go. Boom. And then outer color green. It's a big dark green, isn't it, with Hibs? Bit too dark, bit too bogey, isn't it? Maybe I should do. Okay, that's better. This is how they're expected to line up. We'll hide the Celtic team for a moment to make it a bit clearer. Oh, I've got rid of a defender here. I think when I did that bench move, was it O'Hara? Yeah, got rid of him by mistake. So there's 3 at the back here. But this is how they're expected to line up. No Boyle. And the Caddens, they think, are going to get dropped in terms of the little experts I follow. I think this is meant to be Rocky Bashiri. I couldn't find another Rocky or a Bashiri on the team list here. So I'm assuming this is him, Karanga. I don't know if that's another one of his names, perhaps. Maybe he's got like 3 or 4 names. But yeah, I could see it because Mulligan at right wing back has been very good against us, and he is going to be a big test. Yangs came up against him before, and yeah, maybe because it's Mulligan. I don't know, man. Like that Jordan Latomba that Yang was against is a unit. Is a unit, by the way, of a guy. Obita is definitely a bit, yeah, he's a kind of tight and narrow defensive type player. I remember from when we've played them before. McGrath is he's going to be deep, but spring them out. Bowie, the target man. And this guy, I don't know him from Adam. I suspect he's maybe in the Boyle mold, where he's going to have some pace and he's going to foil the target man. And this Barlasser has been, a range of passing for them to get out and try and swing. I think Obita's got pace to exit, hasn't he? But it probably won't go. Yeah, we're going to have like a defensive 5 here, aren't we, for the most part? And then can they get out with their wingers? Can McGrath support them? That's kind of the main thing we're going to be dealing with. I think they will be deep for the most part, yeah. Do you want Hatate kind of getting into these tight pockets of space? Do we want Yang? Do we want Taneke running at this? And again, with Obita, I fancy Donovan to kind of contain that. And if this is the script, again, something like McCowan or Negren, just coming in here and making it a fair fight, ganging up together, getting the midfield boys in a little pocket together to string some balls together, control the play, find an opening. I can see it. Dyson kind of nipping in between everyone. I don't mind it. So the Nordishland people I was talking to in the summer when we signed in Negren said he's been tried up front, essentially, and like it didn't go too well for him. So watch out for that. It's kind of like a false fit because he's very good in the final third, and you think, oh, maybe just stick him up front. I think he could play well up front, but they said it didn't work out too well for him. As I kind of said that, I was like, is that somebody that I spoke to that said that? Or it might have been on another podcast, so I'm so sorry. But again, feel free to fact check me and credit whoever did say it. But I think it was somebody I spoke to, but it might have. It was so long ago now. As I said that out loud, I was like, is that right? So yeah, happy to be fact checked. Yang on the right, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think on the right, we've decided that we have a problem and we need to just try and solve it. And I think the new manager will have a different vision, a different view on everything when we get to that point. I think this is going to be a good game for the likes of McGregor and Engels because Chaiwa, Barlasser and McGrath, again, I think we should be able to dominate the middle of the pitch, which is something that O'Neill and Maloney is trying to do for us in certain matches, and something I thought was a big miss in the Brendan Rodgers era. But I could see us dominating the middle of the pitch quite well here. Trusty, like we spoke about how he tried to bomb forward at one point and it kind of backfired. I could see maybe a little bit of that kind of thing happening, maybe with a Tierney. Again, sorry if you can hear that. Yeah, I thought he was great as well. And it's a problem solution type thing. It's not that he's a great right winger or we need to play McKeown on the right, but it's a functioning machine, you know, the way we've kind of seen it fashioned in over the last couple of games here. And yeah, I think we should be able to deal with this sort of problem. No worries at all. Is this similar? Just trying to think of all the names, all the games that Martin O'Neill has had. If we just jump on to the Celtic page real quickly here. Oh no, not that tab. Let's use a different tab. Celtic. So we had the game against Rangers, obviously, but outside of that, in the league and in the Europa League, we've had Feyenoord, the St Mirren game, Kilmarnock. Could be a similar type affair. Yeah, similar play style. I think Hibs are higher level than Kilmarnock, don't get me wrong, but similar play style. JSP on the right, Sriracha Bob. So again, we're kind of doing the same thing, I think, with Tierney and Donovan, where Tierney you expect to tuck in a bit more and Donovan you expect to go forward rather than Sriracha on this side. This was the wee guy midfield, so no Engels. Maybe not, maybe don't rule that out. Maeda on the right, Kenny through the middle, and I think, I'm not sure that will be relied upon in this game. I think it'll be Maeda through the middle. And he went with Tuneki here, but this was before the discovery of Yang, wasn't it? Yeah, Yang comes off the bench in this one and wins a penalty for us. He's done that a few times, by the way. Yeah. I think it's just the way the fixtures have done. We had a nice period of home games as well for a while. Where, yeah, we're at home at Kelly, home at Falkirk. Or maybe that's not a nice run, is it? Yeah, there was a wee run. We were at home for a bit. But yeah, Martin O'Neill came in for... Oh, I'm losing my marbles now. Oh, yeah. Brendan Rodgers' last game was Hearts. Of course it was. So, yeah, Falkirk. Yeah, maybe the Kelly game is the closest thing to a preview to like what Hibs do. Falkirk are a wee bit different, but we had Forest a wee bit more kind of balanced there, isn't it? And this was 3 passes and shoot that game. Hope Motherwell smash Hearts. There's a lot of Motherwell fans in the chat today, which is good crack. But yeah, I think this is the way we'll line up. And I think if this is, yeah, I think McKeown on the right, I think that all kind of speaks to what we're looking at here. Yeah, Negren is the one I just don't... I don't know how he doesn't start. I don't know how he doesn't start this. I really don't. So yeah, I think Engels, McGrath, you let McGregor off the leash a bit more. Tate's on it. McKeown can be effective in these games. But maybe he does play Negren, because Negren did come on in that role. And again, I don't know how you don't. This is a big game as well. And again, part of my thinking as well, maybe part of my indecision, right, is well said it going into the Feyenoord game. Martin O'Neill's not going to chuck the towel in against Feyenoord. That was never going to happen, right? But could there have been one eye on the Hibs game with this team? You start Yang in this one to then start Taneke. You start McKibben to then start Negren. We spoke about that kind of minute management, that rotation earlier in the stream. Could that maybe be part of the thinking where, like I say, you're not writing off Feyenoord, taking it lightly, playing the B team, nothing like that. But are you kind of managing the squad across the week? Thinking, right, well, Yang and McKibben can start this one, and then, Balikwisha and Taneke or, something else could happen at the weekend. Yeah, fair enough. I think that's probably a good point. And you never know. You never know. And Forrest is injured at the moment, yeah. And yeah, if you want to keep the wing backs high, that's a great point, by the way. If you want to keep the wing backs high, you maybe do want Negren a bit more, because Negren, you maybe just tell him to cheat, and you just tell him, listen, that'll beat her. You hold him back, don't, and maybe it then looks like, oh, he's letting guys run by him or whatever. But Donovan, Donovan's been trusted 1v1 in Europe against Feyenoord and Red Star and done pretty well. Domestically, all of his appearances have kind of fell out the back of my brain right now, so I'm not going to reference him. But Donovan's a good 1v1 defender. I think we can see that. And at SPFL level, I've got no problem thinking, if that Obita gets by Negren, Donovan, you handle him. That's your job, son. Deal with it. Yeah. Well, nice, easy games. I don't know about that, but yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, that's maybe something to think about as well. Tate's care of possession. No, I don't. Negren did nothing but score, but he is like our top. How do you not play the top goal scorer, top goal contributor? Goals and assists. Every metric, he's the top guy in the team right now. I found that surprised he didn't start against Feyenoord, and that's what I'm kind of maybe saying again is, did he not start Feyenoord to start Hibs? Same with Taneke. Taneke, again, we spoke about him kind of earlier in the stream a little bit about how he's maybe, not quite hit the peaks or the highs that maybe everyone thought he was going to on arrival. But he's been flogged to death, man. He's been traveling for international football since he's arrived in. He's not really had a minute to breathe. That was like the first time since he's been here that we didn't start him. So maybe there's a wee bit of that going on. That is the first time he's come off the bench for us since we signed him. Again, maybe there's a cup game I'm missing in this picture because it's only a league in Europe. Thank you very much, Stephen Kennedy. Smash the like button, everyone. If you're tuning in live and enjoying the preview, Yang is fast. There's just no two ways about that. But yeah, is there a bit of let's give Taneke the midweek off? Let's give and again, Negren is not in too dissimilar a situation where, yeah, Negren has been rotated more, but Negren must be right up there with minutes this year. Not played as much for Sweden, obviously. He's come off the bench for us a little bit more often. But Negren has been Negren since he arrived. If we just go to all team Celtic, since he arrived, he's been the most consistent guy. This doesn't include cups. Again, just to say that one more time. Let's even say away from home. Aberdeen ran the show. Red Star, Kilmarnock, very good performances. Obviously, Feyenoord off the bench, we've just been chatting about. I think I could see us scoring. How much have we been scoring under O'Neill in general? If we go back to the Celtic page again. 3 against pardon me. 3 against Feyenoord, 4 against Kelly, 4 against Falkirk. And the Rangers. Yeah, I think we could score 4 again in this game. I'm going to go for Celtic to score 4. Do we concede? I'm not too. I think without Boyle, I think Boyle's the biggest threat for them. So if there's no Boyle, and maybe the boy Newell comes into midfield, maybe the Caddens come off the bench, maybe the Caddens start, maybe they've got a wee bit of versatility in the mixture here. But I'm not really that worried about Hibs, and I know in the league they're again not exactly pushovers or anything, but they haven't been finishing their dinner. Quite simply, let's go and get the league. Here's the league table here. This isn't the best screen. Oh, there we go. Last 5 games, where are they? Hibs lost 2-0 to Motherwell. Yeah, they beat these teams, I guess. But yeah, 2 each with Livingston. You beat off Rangers. I guess that's no big deal, is it? For Hibs. Losing to Hearts, drawn with us, drawn with Falkirk. Yeah, like I think. Oh, maybe I'm talking a wee bit ill of them. Sorry, they've done a wee bit better than maybe my memory was kind of lending me to here. But St Mirren's a good result. Dundee, I think we kind of see as a team they should beat. Yeah, I just suppose they've been not too bad, Hibs. I suppose maybe I'm being a wee bit disrespectful there, the opponent, but there's Rangers and Motherwell are on the same points as them, so it's not like they've been Rangers. We've been laughing at them all year, so it's not like they've been doing super well, They're only 2 points better off than Falkirk. Yeah, I can definitely go along with that, Liam. I can definitely go along with that. Ralston, I said it on Axom after the Kilmarnock game or the St Mirren game, but it really did look like it was towing a caravan. Like, and I've never said that about somebody before, and I really don't really like disrespectful kind of analysis like that. But it's just covering the ground for Ralston. I think on the ball, his distribution is great. I think if he's like when he's standing a man up, defending this area back here, he has let us down once or twice and just not confronting the ball. He's kind of let the ball come in. But Ralston's still passable. Ralston's still fine, but you just don't want to need to rely upon him like for when we're playing 3 games a week and he's getting called up for Scotland as well, and we're putting in a big shift up and down the pitch every game, and there's no comfort matches. There's no games where you can ease yourself into it. You can kind of recover from that last intense game through this one. None of that. So I think like Ralston's a wee bit of victim of circumstance as well. Because again, Ralston in the squad is fullback too to play 15 games a season. I don't mind that. I really don't. Maybe 20 if you include all competitions and off the benches and stuff like that. But yeah, it's to be like the main guy. Obviously, it's a different issue. He's at a different place, isn't he? So yeah, I think we can score 4. I don't really see. Yeah, I really don't see them scoring. I won't really go away from that. I don't know why. I know they've scored well. If they didn't score against Motherwell, yeah, 10 men. Yeah, I don't know. I just got a feeling we're not going to concede. I don't know why. At home, Hibs, 6 games, 12 goals. They've been doing not too bad. And then away, Celtic. But yeah, we've been really bad away from home, haven't we? Wow. I don't think Ralston's a guy but that you sell. There needs to be guys that just work at Celtic, I think. There needs to be guys that are just part of the fabric, the backbone of the squad. And Ralston, Forrest, McKeown, like you need guys like that in the squad, man. Like I'm not in the we still got the depth. Yeah, we do. Look at the depth for Celtic here. Let's just hide Hibs for a moment. Like, fair enough, we've got Donovan coming through at the moment, right? But you lose a lot of the team personality and identity if you don't keep some of these fabricy players. And even Scales, before everyone kind of woke up to Scales being pretty good, and hard to get better than, like Scales is like, if we do get better than Scales is a great guy to have, again, maybe somebody should maybe try and make money on because of how the growth he's had or whatever, fine. But I think the squad, you need to maintain personality, you need to maintain identity. And yeah, McGregor's a huge part of that, but he can't be the only guy that does that, And for third choice goalkeeper, I don't mind that. If you've got a kid, Ross Doohan's now in that position, it's just a homegrown box ticker thing. For third choice goalkeeper, I don't mind them playing a part, like other than because they're not going to play football, so they need to add something else. I don't mind it, kinda, Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. Scales is first name on the team sheet these days for sure, Liam. It's not that I can't speak for anyone else but myself, Ian. He's not good enough to be the Celtic starting right back. I'm not saying that he is. I don't think number one he's a player you'd make money on. Or, of course, you'd make money on him because he didn't cost anything, right? But how much are you going to sell him for? Let's just put that out there. 1 million? 2 million? Let's say you get 4 million for Ralston, right? Now, we can probably all agree that's not going to happen. Let's imagine you get Ralston for 4 million quid. What age is Ralston right now? And this is like the best case scenario. Let's imagine you get 4 million readies for Tony the Bricky, who's 27 right now. Now, I know he doesn't look it. I think he's a pretty good athlete and all the rest of it, but I think he's really operating at his real end. He's maybe carrying a bit of an injury as well. There's a bit of a noise around that not too long ago. But yeah, I think he's really playing on the red line. I think he's really maxing out right now, and you're really seeing his limitations. But before, when he's had really good games, if he can just come in and do little bits and bobs, he's normally been really good for us. This is Scotland, so kind of ignore that. He's 27. So let's say we sell him for 3 or 4 million quid. Our 2 right backs are Donovan and Johnson. Now, if we're selling Ralston for 4 million, what are we selling Johnson for in the summer? Let's just call it 10. He's gone. We now only have Donovan. So now what are we going to do? We're going to spend, let's just say we spend the Ralston 4 million. Let's say we spend the Ralston 4 million. I've probably done that in the wrong place because I can't click on that dot. Let's put it here. There we go. £4 million. I'll put dollars there. Where the hell is this? Why is this player not showing up on screen for me when I'm doing this? This is so weird. Oh, is it maybe a Hibs player? It is, isn't it? I'm an idiot. Sorry, guys. Celtic. We'll do pounds this time. So let's say we sign a £4 million right back this time. And we've got him and Donovan. Now, Donovan's our homegrown kid. Again, we're probably looking to try and keep him. Or maybe he's going to get sold on as well. And we've got another guy that's in that mould of Bernabe, of, you know, take your list, Naroki, Lagerbielke, Inamura, all these guys that we've tried to source from somewhere that might not be good enough, might be good enough, might make it, might not make it, might be a guy on loan, you know. And honestly, I think the 4 million quid, which you're not going to get, right? It's going to be like 1 million or something, is not worth having rather than having Ralston, because all of this can operate still with Ralston still in the building. We all expect that Alistair Johnson, for me, Alistair Johnson alongside Dyson Maeda is the most sellable asset in the squad when fit, especially after the World Cup. You know, hopefully he does well and all the rest of it. So when he goes, if the 2 right backs are Donovan and Ralston, we want Donovan to play, don't we? Why would you want the backup? Why would you want a random, like, I like Bernabe kind of as well. Why would you want a Bernabe unknown guy to come into the squad to be the backup to someone like Donovan? Would you not want that kind of, he's only 27 right now. Anthony Ralston will be 28 next year. Again, and then if Donovan goes on and becomes like Scotland right back and Donovan's the next KT or something, and we sell him to the Premier League, then we're looking to buy right backs. And, you know, we've got that handover guy. You know, if Ralston plays for Celtic till he's 33 or something, I've not got a problem with it. We've always got a right back there that will just be the right back. Even when it's this situation now, where even Johnson is clearly number 1 and maybe Donovan's taking his spot. Again, if he's happy to bide his time and just wait for AJ to move on, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. Yeah. But I think it can, like, yeah, I am. I also think, like, you know, there's no need for it right now. Like, see if Johnson moves on and you still want to buy another right back to come in, you can do it. But then you've got that freedom that we have with, like, Osmond and Shin, I suppose, to some extent, maybe with Inamura. That if you still buy that guy, if it doesn't work out with him, if he doesn't go well, you've still got this insurance policy here. This guy can play Ross County away, St Mirren at home. No bother. By the way, I said that on, was it the St Mirren breakdown? Ralston, like, if you look at Hibs, Motherwell, like, Ralston at right centre-back could be brilliant at this level. He's got a great range of passing. He's a good 1v1 defender. he's got high standards from being at us. And again, the standards of Celtic, knowing what it takes. And, Ralston's come up with big moments for us in his career already. Let that not be forgotten. And that you can't buy that in some cases, So I just don't see why you're not going to get any reasonable amount of money that makes it worth losing a guy like that from the squad at this stage. And his wages, I don't doubt for 1 minute Celtic are paying him the absolute minimum that they can. You know what I mean? No, not really. I think he can be, but I think he's really flogged out right now. He's maybe carrying an injury. Maybe he's got real physical limitations at this stage of his career, but I think you can see he's carrying a lot of minutes, more minutes than he can handle in his legs right now. And if AJ's fit, you don't get that from Ralston, and he's a much less divisive squad member, I would say. Kind of went onto a right tangent here, guys. We normally like to finish these prediction videos with a shout for man of the match, for who's going to be the guy that makes a difference, that makes a stand. That maybe not the guy that scores a hat trick or scores a game-winning goal, but who is the winner of the game. And I think Yang was kind of that from the Feyenoord. Obviously, he scores the opening goal. He probably wasn't the best player on the night, but he had, by his own standards, probably his best game. But I think Celtic fans all kind of realise, wow, Yang was the guy. He really made a big difference. It wasn't Dyson. Hatate was probably involved. McKeown were all given flowers to as well. But that kind of thing is what we're trying to capture on the channel. Have we got a Hibs save here? No, we don't. Crap. So the Hibs team that we just worked on is all gone. Sorry, guys. I didn't save the build. But yeah, I'm going before now to the Hoops. And it's really between, I feel that Negren has to win the fans over still in some way. I love the Henrik Larsson celebration, his arms out, his tongue out and stuff like that. And I feel that Negren should be the hero of the season so far. We're all loving Scales, and everyone loves Dyson. Tate's a mixed guy or whatever. But Negren, if he starts, could be a wee bit of that. Again, I feel that everyone is coming around to Engels. This game has the potential to sign off Martin O'Neill on a real high note. I think if we beat Hibs 4-0, like I've got predicted, we could get Iheanacho off the bench for a goal, and maybe on some other new faces, somebody like Balakwisha. Does Taneki start or whatever? So I think we'll see goals from the bench. McGregor has been unbelievable since Martin O'Neill came in, and I really hope this is a huge turning point for him, having been under Martin O'Neill, like a legendary figure, etc. I loved Juranovic personally. We made good money on him. See, if we didn't make good money on him, he'd probably be one of the biggest mistakes that we had. Because again, if you had Juranovic and AJ, Juranovic can also play left back as well, So can AJ, sort of, I suppose. But if we didn't make good money on Juranovic, I would have thought that was he's went and done nothing. Like in the Bundesliga, he's got a nice tasty contract and just been injured. I loved Frimpong as well, but again, we made good money on him. It's hard to turn that down when it happens. Could it be somebody like McKeown if he was to get the start? I think it could be. But yeah, I think it's maybe all eyes on the left wing for this game. Does Taneki get the start? Was he rested, rotated, managed in that Feyenoord game to have an impact in this one? Does Yang compound in from Thursday night? Does Balakwisha come out with a cold? I think this is my kind of shout for influential man of the match kind of vibe, Right, chat, let me know what your score predictions are. You've not gave me any of them yet. I think did he have a good first season? I'm not sure. I've got stats for, he left us a few years ago now. He was all right. I don't know if he was, he's been injured a lot. Yeah, they were in Europe. He did that. Oh, cool. So we actually get it. Is that St Mirren right there? Yeah, it is. So that must have been his last Celtic game. He scored 100. Sweet, man. Wow. Huge passing stats. Huge. Wow, Juranovic. That was his last game for us. And then he's moved to Germany. Started well, you would say. Consistent starting player. Still getting in the Croatia team. Played Real Madrid here. And yeah, I guess he's done well when he's played, hasn't he? But as you can see, the good performances lessen, the appearances spread out. He was a good guy, JJ. I've got some fantasy football teams running this weekend. I'm quite excited for. Celtic teams in full effect. Well, you're giving me your score predictions. I'll show you what I've got locked and loaded. So I went with Dyson and the Gren captain. I think the Gren, I just don't know how you don't play in the Gren. I've put Hatate in this team. I just thought that'd be an unusual combination. So like if these guys do smash, we'll do pretty well. I then made an Celtic team, and because I've got no idea who would play up front, I put the Porto striker. They're playing Estoril. They should smash. So I kind of just tried to go with a bit of a safe option in that regard. And this one, I got Taneki and Yang together. I just thought maybe they could both play somehow in some weird type of system. I maybe didn't think that one all the way through, actually. I probably shouldn't have put them together. I don't know why I came to that conclusion, actually, looking at it again. But there you go. And then, yeah, I've got some two kind of wee throwaway teams with Iheanacho in case he plays. With some other bits and bobs. Fenerbahce are playing Galatasaray on Monday. That'll be a good watch for me. But, yeah, I think this is the main kind of Celtic players I'm hoping do well at the weekend. Try and win some Cali Dosh. Yeah, we're not really getting score predictions from the chat. We're all getting right back chat. So, fair enough. Thanks very much to everyone that's hitting the like button. Keep the likes coming in. If you're going to the game tomorrow, travel safe. If you're watching this after we've been live, leave your score predictions and your man of the match shouts down below. Thanks to everyone that supported the content over the last couple of weeks. We've had an amazing month of November for views, for growth, for likes, everything. Honestly, all the interactions are not wasted. They're all very much appreciated and they go a long, long way to supporting the content here at the channel. Again, huge thanks to everyone that supports us on Substack as well. All the content goes out on YouTube for free, but we do have ads. And everything also goes on to Substack without ads. It's £1 a week, £4 a month. And you also get access to the full CeltsAreHere artillery, you know, all the exclusive articles, all the insider scoops that the club get, the website gets. Like today we had a scoop come out from Honduras where they're chatting about Louis Palma's situation has changed. Like that's an official thing coming out from the Palma camp, as he might return to Celtic in January. We, like Poznan, don't have a buyout clause, and Polish teams are really poor. They don't believe they'll be able to buy him, you know. So if you want access to all that stuff, all the videos without ads and much, much, much more, it's £1 a week, £4 a month. All the links are in the description of the video and of the stream. But even by subscribing, by liking, you go so far. And, you know, not just the YouTube channel, but the CeltsAreHere page on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere else. It goes a long way to supporting Celtic fan content by Celtic fans, for Celtic fans, all that good stuff. Hail, hail, everyone. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you for the post-match breakdown on the hoops.